Hello, today we are reviewing Spitfire's Originals Intimate Strings. Now, out of the 3 strings out there, this is the one I feel would be most applicable to a wide variety of music. You've got the big epic strings, then you have the frozen strings, which is very Albion 5 vibes to me, while this one is the one I think you can do a lot with. And with that in mind, I am going to be doing a video, if it's not up already, if you're watching this a lot later, where I'm going to be comparing Lab's free strings versus the Originals Intimate Strings, which is £29, dollars or euros, although currently we're on a spring sale, so you can get this for 17 quid. And then comparing that with Spitfire's solo strings, which is like 300-400 quid. So we're going everything from free, a nice cheap version, and then something a bit more expensive, and really seeing which is the best bang for our buck. But that's not this video. This video is a walkthrough of this product specifically. So what are you actually getting? Well, it's a chamber sections 8, 6, 4, 4 and 3, featuring 25 of London's finest string players, expertly recorded in the reverberated acoustics of Air Studio, home of the blockbuster scores. They always like to make these sound expensive. Anyway, close tree and vintage signal. Okay, 9 essential and extended techniques, including Flautando, which is nice to see, half section harmonics, and of course available in their free plugin. Whether you like that or not is up to you. The 9 specific articulations are longs, consoldino, longs half sections, Flautando, harmonic shorts, consoldino, and pizzicato. No legatos, it would seem, which is definitely going to be a big difference between something like Spitfire solo strings in comparison to this. So I think that's going to be the huge difference, is those legatos. Other than that, I'm intrigued to see how many round robins are actually used on these shorts. I don't think they tell us. Kind of cheeky. But the vintage is a tape saturated subtle spring reverb. Oh, I love a spring reverb. Okay. EQ allowing users to add old school color. Okay, tree, standard tree, and close trio valve microphones. Okay, highly rated, but let's stop talking about the paperwork and actually get into the nitty gritty stuff. So let's jump in. This is the dedicated plugin. Of course, you can click up here and it's all broken down. Okay. So another thing I'm noticing, it's not individual instruments. So you're not going to get a violin, a cello, viola. Don't know why it took me a while to get that. So it's ensemble patches is what I'm thinking. As always, they've got this nice little bit to the side. You can star your favorites. They've broken it down by consort, delicate, long, and short. And I think what we're going to do is just go through it one at a time. Reverb, release, and tightness, always nice to see. Starts with the long, and let's just work our way down. So, long, I'm going to just play it out of the box, then we'll start messing with little bits and bobs and going into everything. So not velocity sensitive, which for longs, I don't like longs being velocity sensitive, especially on something like a violin, but you have a really nice range there. Nice bit of resin there. Nice bit of bass. And they lead very nicely on. Not quite legato, but you can mess around with the release to kind of tune it to how you like it specifically. I'm going to take the reverb off. I just want to hear the close. Happy with the range for £29, dollars or euros. I can't complain so far. It's very front and center. I feel like I'm sitting in front of an orchestra with just the close mics, which is quite nice. And you do have this natural room sound, although with the close, you're not getting this sense of the basses are over there, the violins are there, the violas are there, etc. With the Decca-Tree, let's have a look. I actually really like the Decca-Tree. You have this beautiful space and it just sounds a lot more fuller than the close. The close aren't in your face. It just sounds like you're sitting in the front seat. While the Decca-Tree, you have this more fuller, richer sound, but they're not panned according to the orchestra. At least that's not what I'm hearing. I'm very intrigued about this vintage one. So let's have a play. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe if we just add a touch to the tree. So the tree by itself. And with a bit of vintage. Adds a bit of colour. And if you want an even fuller, more saturated sound, I guess, I think... Personally, I would have liked this to be in a close tree and ambisonic or ambient mic, something a bit further back, or maybe have the close even closer. I don't know. I expected the close to be a bit more intimate, but it is chamber, so I shouldn't complain. But you do have a nice difference between the close and tree microphones, so I'm not going to complain about that. Console Dino, let's move swiftly on. Beautiful release, and you know what? It's a nice variation in comparison to what we just looked at here with the longs. It just feels like it's held back a little bit, and I actually rather like that. Now these I'm really intrigued about. The Flautandos are gorgeous, and to have these at your fingertips really puts it above something that you'd get in your DAW. But good quality sound so far. Let's have a quick play with these Flautandos. Okay, yeah, I like it. I can get behind that. Mic position wise, it's probably going to be the same as the longs. The real test will be when we do it with the shorts. Ooh. That's a very... I know they've got the frozen strings, but that to me sounds very icy. And I really like that. Decca-Tree. Yeah, just a more fuller sound, a bit more space instead of sitting at the front with an orchestra in front of you. Vintage might really add something a bit to it. I don't think I would use it on its own, but it does add some colour. I will definitely say this is a one-up from your DAW, and for the price, I think it's a really great upgrade and a great introduction to the world of sample libraries. And for somebody who's dipping their toes, if you're somebody who wants to do this as a profession, it might be worth saving up and investing in something like the solo strings, because that will wipe this out. If you buy this and a year down the road buy the other, you're not really gonna be using this, at least in my opinion, so far. Long half sections. Now this is where the intimacy, I think, will really come out. I like this. You're picking out more violins now. Instead of having these sections, you're getting, oh, I can hear the individual violins, and you can hear that there's less. I really like that about this patch. And if I take the reverb off, and I want a bit more of a close with a bit of decatry sort of sound, lay off the dynamics. I love this fader. The mod wheel, they've got a lovely range on that dynamic. You do have this in-your-face sound, but you have this beautiful, intimate, not as close as I would like it, but for, I keep saying this, but for the price, we really have to think in retrospect of the price here. The one thing I'm really feeling this is lacking is, I'm going to say space, but just the panning, hearing our violins to one side, the cellos on the other. The bass generally, I guess, will take up most of that sonic field, but hearing that separation of sections, I'm feeling it's lacking. But maybe if I put a bit more decatry instead of close, kind of how they had it. Yeah, you're not getting that separation, but beautiful sounds, beautiful samples. They're definitely strings. They sound like real strings. And I'm quite a big fan of this long half section, actually. That's my favorite so far. The Flautandos are gorgeous, but that half section, I don't know, to me just has a bit more intimacy, which is what this one's all about. Long harmonics, let's move on. I love the resin, the bow on that. That's gorgeous. And again, the expression you can put into this, it's very easy, it's very intuitive, it feels natural. You're not having to work hard. You know, I'm trying to play two-handed, but at the same time work with the mod wheel. And in the first one, I worked with the expression as well. And when you really are recording into your DAW, you really want to go into the nitty-gritty and work these knobs to get the most out of these sounds and samples, because they're very intuitive and they've done a really good job on that, and hats off to them for that. So harmonics, really nice. I love the resin on that. Not too much, not too little. Probably very similar with the mic positions. Actually, I want to try just the vintage with this one. I feel I don't know, you might be able to get something out of it. It just feels this narrow field. The Decatree gives you this beautiful sonic field, and I think just you always have a bit of tree on, in all honesty. A bit more? Yeah, it just adds that space, and if I turn the reverb up, maybe. You can't change the reverb on this one, it's just that, unless you've got your own reverb, of course. But not too big a fan of this vintage one. Maybe for mixing in a little. Right, now we really go on to the true test, the shorts. And shorts Col Legno, that's a nice little bonus. Shorts Concertina, Pizzicato. I wonder how many round robins are here. Now this one I did expect to be velocity sensitive. It really is shorts, they're not spiccatos, they are definitely staccatos. Can I tighten them up a bit? Okay, I like that, the tightness, you can almost turn them into spiccatos. And just cut into that sound that little bit more. So you can make them into spiccatos, but I don't know how I feel about these ones. So you can control it using the mod wheel or velocity, but velocity layer wise, there's definitely a top one and a bottom, but there's not like a quiet one. I think there's only 2 dynamic layers in my opinion. Don't like the reverb, too much for me. Not intimate enough. But if I stick just a close on, I feel like I'm going to have a narrow field. And there's still a lot of space going on there. See, what's that? I've turned my reverb off, my trees off, but we're having this big space, which I'd want it to be a bit more in your face. I'm not as impressed with the shorts as I am with the longs. I'm a little bit disappointed, but we've still got 2 more to go. So fingers crossed. Make that a bit tighter. If you know how many round robins and dynamics, leave it in the comments. My opinion is that there are 2 dynamic layers and 2 round robins, which I guess for the price, okay, it's not terrible, but in Logic you get 2 dynamic layers. You get the top and the bottom, and then I think actually you might just have 1 round robin, but then the Labs one, I might actually prefer the Lab shorts, but I'll leave that for the other video we've already talked about. I'm a little disappointed. At least you've got a choice of shorts, and these do sound different, so credit where credit's due. Not as intimate as I would like it. And I almost feel like I'm getting a little bit of latency. Okay, I was working at 256, which was still like a 10 millisecond round, well, less than that, yeah, 10 millisecond round trip. And now I'm working at 5.3. just don't sound real enough to me. So up next we have the Pizzicato. I'm hoping for better. Come on, please tell me you. Okay, yes, good, good. It's a lot harder to mess up Pizzicato. Oh, this is quite nice. They might have 3 dynamic layers with this one, because you have that nice clicky sound at the bottom, and then this more plucky sound, and then the forte, I'm plucking hard. If we turn that off, maybe stick it in the middle is probably the best option. I like that. That's quite a unique sound, actually. It sounds different to the other samples I have that are pits. And quite a nice rich bass actually with these. Ooh. I think we found my favourite patch of this library. That is a really intimate, and I think I actually prefer these to maybe some of the Spitfire solo strings, double bass. That's a really rich sound you're getting off of that, which, yeah, I like. And maybe the close. Ooh. Now that's what I mean by intimate. That really, that's in your face. And you just get that little bit of click. Ooh. Yep, I'm happy with that. I'm sold. The Pizzicato is good. Shorts, I'm very disappointed. The long halves is my favorite, and the other longs are very much in the middle. But last but not least, and the one I thought was not on here but is, short Col Legno. I love these sounds. And they've got a nice loud one. It's naturally not a loud sound. It's Col Legno. Just look up the technique or look up a video of how Col Legno is played. It's not going to be loud. You can turn it up to 400% and get a loud sound if you want, but that's not how naturally it would be. Although for 400%, the noise floor is excellent, actually. So you can turn it up with that little knob there. And yeah, actually, I'm really sold on this one. And I just want to see what the close actually sounds like. Ooh. Yeah, 400% on the volume and max it out, and you get this intimate Col Legno with actually a really nice noise floor. Not disappointed there. So overall, would I recommend this product? As I kind of mentioned in the middle, if you're dabbling your toes and you want a little upgrade from what you've got in your DAW, it's definitely worth the investment. And most of the originals really are aimed at those people dabbing their toes and who maybe aren't quite invested in going all the way and spending £300-400 on something, or maybe you don't have that sort of money. They're great little upgrades. They're definitely slightly better than your DAW. I wouldn't use it alone. I would use these in combination with what you already have in your DAW, because really, the more the merrier, ultimately. And yes, nice little product. If you're wanting to stick this out for the long term, I would definitely wait and maybe go for something like Spitfire solo strings. But we'll leave that for the next video where we will put the labs versus intimate strings versus Spitfire solo strings and really see which one comes out on top, and ultimately that will be your choice. But thank you so much for watching. This has been Intimate Strings by Spitfire Audio. Right now they have a 40% off sale on absolutely everything, so go and grab something if you want, but don't feel like you have to just because there's a sale. Money is precious. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.